Hey there, community and the virtual wrestling world. This is Failed Hero 85 and G Hamrick 75 of the Worldwide Wrestling Network. And we just want to take a moment to try to answer a few questions regarding our division system here in the Worldwide Wrestling Network. There have been a lot of folks who have been interested and have also had a lot of questions regarding why and how we do what we do. And so I want to give a little bit of background. The reason that we have these division systems is because it makes it a lot more realistic to a real wrestling promotion. Basically, in the wrestling world, you have the guys who are on top, the draws, the main events, and then you have a kind of division system on the way down. And so what we figured out is that we have broken our division system from main event to upper card, mid card, lower card, and enhancement talent. 5 levels. And in those 5 levels, we have kind of come up with some pros and cons to kind of explain why people should be, or why people should, what they should consider before placing their character at that level. Anything that I missed there, Gary?
No. The only thing I can think to add, we will get into momentarily.
Okay. Well, first of all, let me give you a little bit of background. The whole reason why we do the division system, it started with us beginning 2 years ago to utilize the attribute project done by Hyperball, by DC All-American and Hyperballer 23. If you guys are on the WWE 2K forums, you will most likely come across this project at some point where these two individuals have gone through and they have created realistic stats for superstars, and the suggestions really make the game work very well, combined with certain choices that you make in your slider settings. And so from there,
both. Now you say that project, both your stats on your character and your personality traits and stats,
and the default sliders in the game. What the sliders are in your game.
All three sets of sliders.
All of these mechanics kind of come into one big kind of cluster, but it gives a really, really, really realistic approach to the game. And I think that's important when you're simulating 80% of your matches to really make it seem like it is a real fight between people who have differing and differentiated attributes. That means that that certain people are good at some things and others are good at other things, and there are pros and cons and trade-offs for having certain abilities and traits. Now, from there, last year, I myself took it upon myself to take a look at the default and maximum settings in the my career, my player setting. And essentially what I did is I decided to use the game's own setup against it in building attributes. And then from there, we kind of took the averages of mid-card, upper card, main event, and basically set our divisions from there with a minimum and a maximum setting. And we'll get more into that on a video that we're going to be doing a little bit later on how to use the WWWN attribute calculator. But with that, we want to go over our divisions and what are the positives and negatives of choosing each level. Okay, so let's get started. We're going to start with the main event because, well, it's the main event. Alright, so our main event setting for the overall is 90. That is the cap. We do not give a champion's advantage. The only advantage that a champion might have is some extra advantage in universe mode simply due to power ranking. That is it. Because we do use the universe mode and the power rankings to basically make sure story and momentum is being told properly.
And a quick add-on to that, the reason 90 is the cutoff is exactly because of our using the power ranking system.
Exactly.
The top 10 slots on the power ranking system add between 3 to 15 points.
Yep. And
to an overall, and I think it's 3 to 15. It might be 3 to 10.
It is 15, but, I believe.
It is 15. Okay. The number one slot is 15. The number 2 is 10 then. And that creates a world of difference right there.
Especially if you're already sitting at 90. And so, basically, the pros of being the main event is that you are the top of the card. You are main event. You are going to main event Melee, Cyclone, and most likely the network events as well. You're going to be involved in those feuds. And with that, your feuds are going to carry weight. Your feuds are going to have impact throughout the entire show that your character is on. And the last pro is you can challenge for the Worldwide Wrestling Network Heavyweight Championship, the Brass Knuckles Championship, and if you meet the weight class of 225 pounds, you can challenge for the Junior Heavyweight Championship. Now, the cons are this. These are the negative things. You're most likely going to be seen less. And that's because the more main eventers that we have, the harder it is to have a balanced roster. And so we don't want to continually see the same main eventer every week. We want their appearances to be special. Okay? And so the whole idea is basically this. Is if you have a roster full of John Cena's, it makes it difficult to build people up and elevate them. That is why we don't encourage a lot of guest characters to be at the main event unless they are coming in from a promotion where they have a lot of momentum. Okay?
And as a side note to this, we understand everybody wants their character seen. Everybody wants to be the top dog. But, as you just stated, there can only be so many John Cena's, or so many Seth Rollins, or so many, Kenny Omegas even.
Right.
On a roster, and it still means something.
And the other thing of it is that we are not a 100% competitive fed. We are a story-based fed. And so, while we use AI versus AI as the mechanism to tell most of these stories 80% of the time, you have to remember that we are trying our best to tell realistic wrestling stories in this kind of custom universe. Now, also with that being said, main eventers, and I cannot repeat this enough, main eventers cannot participate in the tag team division. What did we say, Gary?
Cannot be participating in the tag team division.
And the reason is main eventers should stand on their own. That does not mean that they can't be in a stable or a group or be allied with someone, but they cannot
occasionally wind up in a tag team match.
Right. But you will not be actively be able to pursue the Worldwide Wrestling Network tag team titles. Also, you cannot challenge for the Worldwide Wrestling Network On Demand title, the Young Lions title, and like we said, the tag team titles. Now, next, our second level, our upper card division. So, our upper card is 82. which is 8 points away from the main event. And what this means is that the positives are you can challenge for any upper card title. There are 5 of those within the Worldwide Wrestling Network, okay? Including the heavyweight title, the on-demand title, the junior heavyweight title, and the brass knuckles title, and the tag team titles. The upper card are the people who we build our weekly main events around, whether they are facing a main eventer, or they're facing another upper carder, or they're facing another mid carder. We build our weekly main events around our upper card division. Okay, you can at 82 participate in the tag team division with a partner who is a mid carder or lower, a mid carder or a enhancement or a lower carder, and you can challenge for the heavyweight title. But at 82, it is going to be more of a challenge. But if you do win, congratulations, your character is built extraordinarily well, and it is a big frickin' deal. Okay? And it will be treated as such.
The other thing that should be mentioned here, if you're an 82, depending on where you are on the power rankings, it is completely plausible that you could beat a main eventer and get the heavyweight title.
Heck, even without the power rankings, we have had upper carders beat resoundingly main eventers. So, it being a step below on the division system doesn't mean you're never going to win. It just means it's going to be a good match. Okay, the cons. You're always seen on the cusp of the main event. Kind of like how I feel about Seth Rollins. Yeah, Seth Rollins has held the Universal title a number of times. But do I feel that Seth Rollins is the guy? Not quite yet. And everybody is going to have their own opinion, but basically,
you and I have a different opinion on Seth Rollins,
right? And
on that cusp mark for that matter,
right?
Okay.
But basically, what we mean is that this is a guy who is at any point could break out and win that heavyweight championship and be considered a main eventer. Another con.
In terms of actual promotion, you are someone who is viewed as, hey, we can give the ball to this guy and he can carry it if we need him to.
Exactly. Okay. Now, another con is that both main eventers and mid carders have the potential to beat you, but on the positive side, the inverse of that is true as well. You could very easily beat both mid-carders and main eventers. And the last con is you cannot challenge for the Young Lions Championship. Once you are an upper carder and considered at that level, you cannot challenge for the Young Lions belt. Just not possible. Okay? And our mid-card. Now, our mid-card overall stat is 74. And I know that a lot of people are going, 74? How do I build an effective character at 74? Guys, it is possible. We have video evidence of it that we're going to show momentarily. So, the positives of being overall at 74 is basically the same as being in the upper card. You can challenge for pretty much any title. You have almost fair game. Then you will be seen more often because you can go up against upper carders, main eventers, openers, and enhancement talent. You are someone who is literally middle of the card, and we would be able to put against anyone and hopefully have a great match. You can participate in the tag team division with a partner who is on the upper card or below. And this is a big one, and this seems to be something that a lot of people are getting more and more interested in. If your character in kayfabe, in your head, is between the ages of 18 and 25, and has only been working in kayfabe for 3 to 4 years, then your character qualifies for our Young Lions division,
And
which
I thought it was under 3 years.
we've made a slight alteration.
Okay.
3 to 4.
Okay, I wanted to clarify that.
Yep. And basically, if you have less than 4 years of experience as a wrestler in your own story, not in actual virtual wrestling, in your own story, then we are willing to place you in that Young Lions division where that will be a focus from individuals who are between the stats of 58 to 74 to be able to tell stories about up-and-coming characters. The negatives, okay? You will have a difficulty consistently defeating main eventers because you're in the mid-card. Upper card and openers have the potential to beat you. And the last thing is mid-card cannot challenge for the heavyweight championship because you're going to be kind of seen as not there yet. Now, does it mean that you're not going to potentially get a match against the World Heavyweight Champion? No. We recently had a match with James Omega versus Shining Simon Sullivan 2 weeks ago. James Omega, he's one of our mid-card talent, and that match was crazy, okay? And nothing was touched. Simon Sullivan's at 90, and James Omega is at 74. And that match was absolutely insane. Okay? And let's see. Now, our next levels, we're not necessarily encouraging people to build at these levels unless they are thinking about adding a secondary character. I know that there are some people who have primary characters and secondary characters. In the interest of fairness, we are asking people to think about secondary characters as what they are, secondary. And so, secondary characters and individuals who just want to kind of have something to build for, we have our lower card, which the max is 66. The pros of that are you can challenge for any opener to mid-card title, which there's 3 of those. The Young Lions Championship, the On-Demand Championship, and the Brass Knuckles Championship.
A quick note on the secondary character thing.
Yes.
Not only will we encourage the creation of secondary characters, or even tertiary characters.
Right.
The thing that we're looking at is we want to encourage both experienced call creators
and
new call
inexperienced.
creators
Yes.
and inexperienced call creators.
Right.
To continue creating characters. It's great that you have a character, that you have a primary character you have set in stone, that you've been developing that character for X amount of years. Let's see what else you can do.
Yep.
Let's see what other creativity you can come up with.
And
the amount of possibilities that have been added every year that 2K has had the WWE franchise, and THQ had the franchise before that. The amount of possibilities keep elevating every year for what new characters are possible. We want you, the call community, call creators, to continue being creative.
Yes.
This is an opening for that.
And so, also, another pro is that openers are allowed in the Young Lions division. We talked about that, those breakdowns in the mid-card. You can participate in tag team division with a partner who is an upper card character and below. And your call can still have a learning curve. This would be a great place, just like Gary said, to try out characters and determine what you like or if you like, their presentation, and they can go through changes here in our opener level, and it can be seen as a character who is growing. The negatives, the cons. You will have a difficulty consistently beating main eventers and uppercarders. You'll often get called on and get booked in matches where you're going to take a beating because you're at 66, and because there's going to be that big differential between, say, main eventers and uppercards, there is the chance of the squash match mechanism to activate. Okay? And the last con is you cannot challenge for the heavyweight championship. Okay? And moving on to our last division, and that is the enhancement talent, or as some folks would call it, the jobber division.
The job squad.
Now, guys, everybody gives jobbers shit, but here's the thing. Wrestling doesn't work without enhancement talent. Okay? You need that talent in order to put over your stars so that everybody looks good. Now, the perks of being a 58 enhancement talent is you can challenge for the tag team titles and the brass knuckles titles. Your victories will be celebrated as huge upsets, okay? And you will have the appreciation of the booking committee for giving us a call that we can literally place anywhere and be able to continue to tell a story with that character. The negatives are, yes, 58s are most likely going to have a tragic win-loss record, okay? And you cannot challenge for the heavyweight championship. But let's tell a quick story.
Well, I've got two stories.
Okay, well, first, I think one of them you're thinking of already. Already, at the beginning of this year, we had Law Dog beat Michael Maverick for the on-demand title.
Yes.
This was completely not planned, okay? This was literally a huge WTF moment for both me and Gary. Now, not that we don't think that that character could carry that strap eventually. It was just like, wow, we were literally just trying to get this guy in a match and have a good match with one of our NPCs and get him over, and he literally came in and surprised us with a victory. Guys, Michael Maverick was set at 90. Law Dog was set at 60. Okay? So, big upsets can happen. And
Yes.
the AI can cause big upsets to happen. Now, Gary, you had another story. What was your other one?
What I was going to say is something that I've seen done with enhancement talents, and this is a thing of reflecting on the actual wrestling business. There are people that come in as enhancement talent that are literally guys who might eventually get repackaged.
Right.
As a lower mid-card guy or a mid-card guy. One of the best known guys in the business started out doing a little bit of job work here and there in a little promotion called NWA Wildside.
Yep.
Actually, no, it was prior to NWA Wildside. It was NCW, which was out of the Carolinas. Worked a few matches there. I don't know that he worked under the same name.
Right.
But I know for a fact AJ Styles did a couple of jobber matches when he was first starting out. He did it to get the experience.
And yes, we know that Caw and real wrestling is different. But we're going back to what we said originally. We are trying to create a promotion where there are realistic expectations set for talent. And that is what this division system is all about. And if you want some more information beyond what we talked about, these pros and cons, just reach out to myself, Failed Hero 85. I am the guy that's kind of designed this. Gary can talk about it a little bit, but if you want real specifics, besides just broad strokes, you might need to contact me.
We've also created another video that goes into a lot of detail on how we run the promotion.
Exactly. And so you can see that, and we will probably link those two together in a few moments and try to get that ready for you guys so that you'll be able to see what our thoughts are behind several things. And so basically, without anything else, can you think of anything else, Gary, that we missed for this video?
I can think of one thing.
What is that?
In the immortal words of Lord Cyrus of Moldovia, stay safe.
And stay over.